it's Jenny B from vitalitybyjenny.com, and today I wanted to go over a question that I had, or a video request really that I had on one of my other videos, and that is to explain the term why the fat you eat is the fat you wear, or why eating fat makes you fat. And so the fat you eat is the fat you wear is a term that Dr. McDougall uses a lot to help people understand his way of thinking when it comes to diet. And while, like this person said, it's a great catchphrase, it's very cute, but they don't understand what he actually means by that. So I wanted to go over today what Dr. McDougall himself means by it, and what a couple other things that are just my opinion on why the fat that you eat is what's going to be making you fat. Okay? So we'll start with what Dr. McDougall specifically says. So according to Dr. McDougall, fats are, the way that the fats come in your food, they are already in the perfect composition to be stored easily as fat for later use. So fat are what he considers the metabolic dollar. It's something that you can see that's saved for a time when there's not enough food later on. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, either way you look at it, there is not usually a point in our lives where food is scarce anymore in our society. Of course, there is in other parts of the world, but for a lot of us that are concerned with the video that I'm making now, that food is not scarce for us. And so this whole idea of needing to store food for that type of time, it just doesn't apply to us anymore. And so while it would have been a very great thing for our bodies to be capable of doing, several thousands of years ago, it's kind of used almost against us. It becomes a negative thing for us. And so according to Dr. McDougall, fats are easily stored as fat. They hardly undergo any change from when you take them into your mouth to when they're stored in your body. And in fact, I have read several cases where scientists will take fats out of your body that have been stored in your body, and they will analyze them, and they can tell you exactly what types of fatty foods you've been eating. So if you eat a lot of fish, there'll be, or fish supplements and stuff, there'll be like omega-3s in there. If you eat a lot of margarine and that sort of thing, then you'll have trans fats stored in your body. And so they go directly from the types of foods that you're eating into your cells and are stored. Now, some fat can be used as energy, but this is not as efficient of a process as using sugars or starches that are turned into sugars, complex carbohydrates, as energy. And so a lot of people also believe that sugars are easily stored as fat in your body. And Dr. McDougall talks about why this is false in his books and online and that sort of a thing, because he says this is not metabolically efficient. This is too expensive metabolically for your body to change excess dietary sugars into fats that will then be stored for energy later. It actually takes so much energy for your body to convert those sugars into fat that it just doesn't make sense to go through that process and then to store them as fat for later, because it doesn't really weigh out. And so what he says happens is that these excess sugars normally just get burned off as energy or excreted through the body. And I haven't actually studied that statement in depth to know whether or not, that's 100% true or how true that is to me yet. But that is what Dr. McDougall says. And so if you're wondering what he means by the fat you eat is the fat you wear, that's what Dr. McDougall says. And so there's a lot of that tends to make sense to me, and there's some of it that I'm like, I'm not exactly sure, about the excess carbohydrates being burned off as energy. I don't know how that works yet. So that's going to be something that I will want to study more in the future. But what I do know about fats is that they have over double the amount of calories per gram of food as either protein or carbohydrates. Protein and carbohydrates both have 4 calories per gram of food. Fats have 9 calories per gram of food. So you can see that you can easily, just even adding little bits of fat to your food, it increases the calorie intake by a lot, without actually increasing the volume by very much. And so it's very easy to overeat on fats. And it's very easy to add a lot of calories into your diet without even realizing that you're doing it. And there's another issue with eating too many dietary fats, and that's that you will automatically start eating not enough carbohydrates. So like I say all the time, every single cell in our body runs off of sugars. Our brain runs off of sugars, our body runs off of sugars, every single cell runs off of sugar. And so when you start eating too much fat, then your carbohydrate calories automatically start going down as your fat intake starts to go up. And so as that starts to happen, you begin craving these sugars, and because your body needs them. And so the longer that you go with not eating enough carbohydrates and eating more fat, then you're going to have stronger and stronger cravings for these types of sugars. Well, and that would be okay if we still lived out, in nature, and we actually satisfied our craving for sweets with purely sweet foods like fruit. But we don't. Our taste buds have been completely altered, and we have grown up in a society that considers fatty foods sweet foods. So if you start having these cravings, you're craving sweet foods, you're thinking of ice cream, chocolate cake, all these kinds of desserts or sugary foods that also contain a lot of fat. In fact, they are way higher in fat than they are in sugar. And so you'll keep eating these foods that taste sweet but actually don't have enough carbohydrates to satisfy you because they contain so many fats. And so the way to solve this problem, the way to lose weight, is to continue to eat healthy, complex carbohydrates and fruit, and so that you're getting enough of the sugars, you're getting enough of the fuel that your body needs so that you don't crave any of these sweet foods that are actually junky foods. And so by lowering that fat intake, you're automatically going to eat way more carbohydrates and be satisfying your body, and you won't be going on this whole binge mode that everybody in the diet world knows all too well. So as you can see, there are several ways that eating fat can actually lead to you gaining fat on your body. And by not eating fat, you will automatically, easily lose the excess fat on your body. So continue to eat those healthy carbs, continue to keep the fat down, and you are going to look the best that you've ever looked. And the thing with this is that it's not only about weight loss. There has been scientific studies that have shown, medical studies that have shown, that eating a low-fat, mostly vegan diet is the only diet that will reverse heart disease. Not only prevent, but reverse heart disease, and it's medically proven. And it was interesting to note that in that study, 20% fat was still too high to actually reverse heart disease. Now, 20% fat can most likely prevent heart disease, but to actually reverse heart disease, to get your body back to being healthy after you have gotten it down this road or this path of being unhealthy so far, you need to drop it down to at least 10%. To around 10% is when the magic starts happening, the arteries start becoming unclogged, and the heart disease actually starts reversing. And so if you take that idea and apply it across the board, because it does apply across the board, the one diet that reverses heart disease also helps you to lose weight, gets rid of a lot of other chronic diseases, and makes you feel happiest, healthiest, and sexiest. So low fat, vegan diet to help you lose weight, to help you get healthy. And if you would like some more information on how to get started on this diet, and more about why this diet actually works for you, then jump on over to the website that I have in the description below. The very first link that's in the description below will take you to a free ebook that I have that will help you get started on this low-fat vegan lifestyle and to explain it a little bit more. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon.